Hello, party people. Hello, it's Randee for Thunderhorse Descendant. I am here on Saturday morning, super bright and early, because we still have some beads left in this October bargain bead box that we need to get working with here. So I was just looking at these. I don't think these came in here. I don't know what they're doing in there. Those are not for here. And so I'm just, again, if you're new here, I have to just check my beads out, see what we're working with, and kind of figure out what I'm thinking I want to be able to do with what I have available. So what I've been doing is I have just been making projects, and then I'm not doing more projects with those beads or anything, because I feel like if you are getting the box and you're making projects, you know, you're losing some of your beads. So I'm kind of trying to challenge myself to make things with just what I have left. And thus far, it's been going pretty good. But as you can see, we're getting low. Maybe I'll get you a little closer. We're getting low on what we have left available. So this is what I have. And okay, so that's what we got. I'm thinking today I want to use these orange dyed agates. So the reason for that is obviously there's quite a few of them, so I feel comfortable knowing like I could probably pull a project of some kind out of that, and it's not going to be, you know, I'm not going to run out of beads or anything. So I'll put those to the side, and then I think, let's see, how big are these compared to these? I mean, it's not horrible. Okay. I'm going to switch mats. We're going to use the agates. I think that is all I'm going to use for today. And I have to find some cording. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've switched bead mats, and so we can focus on what we got going on here. I just gotta move my light a little bit, maybe. There we go. Okay, and so my idea for this is to make a leather bracelet. You may have seen these floating around the internet. I've seen them all kinds of places, but again, if you don't have leather, that's fine, because I ran around my bead studio here and I found some different options. So this is rat tail cord, or like they call it rat tail, but it's like a waxed cotton cord. So I figured we could use that. Or we could, if you have a silk cord, this would work as well. Now, these two, I think I've never made this bracelet before, so it's going to be real interesting for all of us. But these two feel a little more, this one in particular feels a little more flimsy, which in my opinion, I think would make things kind of harder to work with, because it's so like flimsy for what we're going to do here. And I'll make sure to post a picture up of the finished project so you guys know what we're doing. This one does have a little more structure to it, the rat tail, but I do have some 1.5 leather. So this is 1.5. I think you could use a 1. I mean, honestly, I think you could use, I would think 1.5 and under for this bracelet, because a 2 I think is going to be a little thick. So this is a 1.5. You could use a 1. You could even use a 0.5, but that might be, it might be a little hard to work with. So I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to pull out here about 1.5 feet. We probably won't need that much, but I'm going to pull out and cut off 1.5 feet here because we are going to double this string, this leather. So we're going to double it like so. So we're going to make this bracelet. It's going to be a button bracelet. You could add a button here if you'd like to. I'm just thinking, do I want to do that? A button did not come in the bead box, so I don't think I'm going to do that. What I am going to do is I'm just going to tie an overhand knot here. And I'm going to leave enough space because I think for our button, I'm going to use one of these etched glass. So I'm just going to tie enough to make sure that it can go over this. Okay. I don't want it to be too much, but not enough, you know. All right. So let me see. That's going to work. Oh yeah, it'll work. Okay. So this is how we're going to start our bracelet out. Now, let me premise this by saying, as I'm getting ready here, I have never made this bracelet before. I've only seen it, pictures of it. I've seen some pictures of it on Pinterest. And because I was just kind of been thinking about like, what do I have left in this box? I saw some pictures of it. All right, so we're still getting ready. I have my leather in 1.5 millimeter, and I have gotten off the strand here about half the strand of the dyed agates. Now I'm going to get my Beadalon Wildfire and 0.15 millimeter here. This is green. I just picked green because honestly I thought that'll probably be fine. I don't know. I have white and I also have black, but I didn't want to go black because I thought, you know what, that kind of reminds me of Halloween, so I don't know. But anyway, so we're going to take out, I think we're going to need quite a lot of string for this, so I'm going to do an arm's length, the whole entire wingspan twice. My entire wingspan twice. And I'm going to just roll that out. I know you can't see me, but I would never be able to get it on the camera. Okay. So now that I have my wildfire, I'm going to get a needle. So I keep my needle in this little case, and I'm going to be using this one. This one is a size 10. And I feel like it should work. And I'm going to just thread that up onto this wildfire. Now I have found if you're using a needle on wildfire, sometimes you got to take your chain nose and just kind of squish the end to get it into the needle, you know? You see how it's squishing flat like that? And that's helpful for threading. So let's see if I can do it this morning. You know? Haha! There we go. Okay, so now we're going to just leave it just like this. We're only going to be using one strand, but I am going to pull this tail down quite a lot so that I don't have so much that I have to be trying to maneuver here. Let me zoom you out a little bit. So I am going to see what I got here. So it's almost about half, but you know, as we work through the project, I think that, you know, this is just kind of cumbersome to work with the camera and everything. Okay, so I'm going to start this by just tying a knot. I'm going to use my tail end, and I'm going to start by tying just a knot onto the string. onto the leather. And we can clean all this up in the end, so I'm going to leave a tail. I'm going to leave a little more. Okay. And I'm just going to go like that. I'm going to scooch it down as far as I can. Well, actually, I'm going to leave it there because when we get going on this, this is going to spread out, so there is going to be need to be room for that bead. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of figure 8 the leather here with this string, just to give it a little more stability. So I just figure 8'd. I didn't tie it, I just figure 8'd around, and now we can start. So I'm going to take my bead and I'm going to bring it down. And stick it in there so it fits. And I'm going to bring it around, move the leather out of the way, and then come back down through that bead. And as I'm pulling, I'm watching so that I don't get my wildfire caught up in my other tail here. So now I'm to the bottom. And I'm going to again move the leather out of the way. Take my needle, go up through the top of the bead. Now this first one is a little bit silly, but I just am doing this because I want to get it secured on there good. So I'm going back through this one again so that my needle and thread, my thread is coming out of the bottom of the bead as we had originally started, because this one is the end one and it's probably going to get a lot of, action. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the next bead. I'm going to move my leather out of the way and I'm going to put on the next bead. Maybe come down here. There we go. And I'm going to move the leather out of the way of the top, come in with my needle, go down through the bead, watching so my tail isn't around anything but this top wire or top leather. Pull it tight, kind of scooch it into place, move this leather out of the way, go back up through the top, so it's securely on there. Move the leather out of the way, and then I'm going to go with another bead. So now I'm going from the top. Bring that one down. Move the leather out of the way so that your thread is wrapping around the leather. Go back up through the bead. Move the leather out of the way. Come down through the bead. Oop. That one got a little loose because I pushed it with my needle. Make sure it's not around anything but that top one. Kind of scooch it into place. And that's what she's looking like. Okay. Okay guys, here we are at the end of this bracelet. This is what it looks like. I'm going to put on one more bead so you can, I kind of got into a better rhythm so you can see how I've been doing it. So I'm going to grab one bead here. And so clearly it's easier if you move the leather instead of trying to move the string. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure you got your string where you need it to be, coming out whatever way you need it to be coming out. Put your bead on. And then wrap around the top. And then move your leather out of the way. So I got going on this and I was like, oh, it's kind of hard to do. Like, I guess I get why some people do it with a loom. Some people do it on a loom. Because just freehanding it is a little hard. But it's doable, you know. I just thought that it'd be nice for these beads. Because they are all the same shape and they are very nice. So anyways, so this is what I got, and on this end bead I'm just going to go through it one more time just to give it a little more stability. And okay, so I am just going to leave this string on here because I'm going to have to go back in and just, you know, make sure that things are looking nice on the end or whatever. So I don't want to cut it off or anything, but this is what we end up with. I think it turned out pretty good. I like the stones. And now we're going to try to put this bead on there as a button. But because the bead has a small hole, it's too small to fit on that 1.5 inch leather, I'm going to put it on a head pin. And I am going to use one of the bead caps. So I'm just going to put my bead cap on there, and I'm going to put my bead, and I'm going to wire wrap this. I'm only going to do one side because I don't want any metal up against the leather on the other side if it wears on it. So I'm just going to wire wrap this around. Where's my cutter? And get that going. And I'm going to just harden out the circle, straighten it out, and then I'm going to tuck in this wire. Yep. I swear, I don't know why, but whenever I go to tuck in wire, I assume it's because I'm at a weird angle, but whenever I try to do it on camera, it never works. It always like coils up on itself. But anyway, so here is our bead that we're going to use. Now I'm going to take an oval jump ring because you know I'm a fan. Where's the oval jump rings? I'm going to take the oval jump ring here, and those are not oval. There we go. And honestly, I don't know what size jump ring that is, but it's pretty big. And I'm going to put this on here. So I've never done this before, so this is kind of like a trial and error, but we're going to see how it goes. But I wanted to use the component I wanted to try to make a component for this bracelet out of the things that they provided us. Because if you're at home and you're just getting the box and you don't have a lot of extra, business laying around, you got this box to make things with this box, then you want to be able to do that, right? And on my other projects, I already used the other clasps. I think they gave 2 clasps. Okay, so this is what I got. This is what it looks like. It kind of just looks like a charm, but what we're going to do is we're going to take it, we're going to put our leather or cording into this jump ring, both strands, and I pull it down here. Okay. Now, it's a mess. This whole bracelet has been a mess. Let me tell you what. If you're like making this at home and you're like, what in the... It's a mess because you got a bunch of strings and things and tails and all kinds of stuff. But that's fine. We can do it. So you're going to want to make sure that your jump ring is sitting kind of flush with everything here. You see, you don't want it like, you don't want it so it's hanging like a charm like that. You want it so it's flat and goes in with the other beads. And all we're going to do is we're going to tie an overhand knot. Now, I'm going to tie this knot. I want it to be snug up against here, but I don't want it to be so tight that it's like, oh, the stuff won't even, So I'm just going to do an overhand knot here, and like if it wiggles a little bit, that's fine. I just don't want my beads to be able to wiggle too much. So now I'm just checking that this jump ring is not going to come up over my bead, which it seems like it can. So you could, let me just finagle this knot a little bit and see if it is better. I don't want this, yeah. So my knot, I just kind of had to squish it up a little bit, and now it's not coming over the top. You could go again, tie a bigger knot and go down a size in a jump ring, whatever you need to do. But that's what I got. So here's the plan. Now I'm not going to cut this off because I might put some charms on there. What I am going to do is I'm going to make sure that this fits in here. And it does. So I'm just using that as, I'm just going to use that as my button. Now I will say that this portion, you're going to want to make sure you use a head pin or some heavy duty wire, because there's going to be a lot of stress on that portion, which I did not think of. Let's see. I guess you could also go over the knot. Let me look. Like once we have charms on there. I mean, it's up to you. I think it'll be fine though for the amount of stuff that we're going to be doing with it. All right, so now, okay, so now what I'm going to do is, now that I got that on there, I am going to go in here with my, I might have to zoom you guys out for this. I'm going to go in here with my string, and I am going to just do a little bit of securing here. So let's see. I'm just going to go around this end a couple times, go through the bead, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do a half hitch knot right here to tie it off. So you just go under the leather. There we go. Under the leather, so you got this loop, you're going to go through the loop and then pull it. And I'm going to go back through the bead. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to go just under the leather. Get it a little manageable. Go up from underneath, go up, half hitch knot, pull it tight, and then I'm just going to go back through this bead one more time just to hide that tail, and then we should be able to just cut it off. If I can get through there. I've been through there quite a few times. All right, so now we should be able to just cut this off. Because I don't have a scissor over here. Who ever heard? So I'm just going to cut it off. There we go. Now, put that to get that out of the way. All right, so you could go in with your thread zapper and whatever, you know, but for the most part, that's what she looks like there. And now we have this tail over here, and this was the start of our bracelet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this needle off this extra string that I had here, and I'm going to put it on the tail. I left a little bit of tail. If you didn't leave any tail, that's fine. You can always just tie on down here and, you know, straighten some things up as you need. Uh-oh. There we go. So I didn't leave very much, but hopefully enough to just do a few knots here and get through this. I'm going to go through the bead. And this side, I'm going to do the half hitch knot. I'm going to go underneath, back through the bead. Okay. And then this side has a little extra string because of where we started. So I'm just going to go through the bottom here. That's fine. I mean, honestly, I don't think anybody's going to notice that. Just you are going to notice it. So I'm just doing another half hitch knot. And I'm going to go through one last time. Maybe. Go to the top, I guess. And now that one is done. Get my little needle box. Put you right in there. I learned the hard way about that needle box. I just had needles all over, you know, or whatever, or can't find one, or it's just a problem. Now, I will go in with a lighter, with a zapper. I don't have a lighter over here. And I'll take off that little piece of thread. But other than that, okay. So this is what we got. And now I'm thinking, do I want to put a little charms on here? I have 2 beads here. Now, these did not come in the box, but they're larger hole because I'm using leather, so I gotta have something a little larger hole to put that on. So do I want to use those? Maybe I could get one of these bumpy rondelles on there. Let me look. Oh yeah, the bumpy rondelles will work. Let me get some of those out. So I'm only gonna need like, I never put an even number. I think that's that's not a thing I do. I always put an odd number. So I'm gonna put 2 on one side. Oh. One. And this is just to give it a little extra something. Now, how come that one's not wanting to go on Okay, I'm going to take my cutter and I'm going to cut this tail at an angle, a sharp angle, so that I can get that angle portion into the bead and at least get a hold of it before the rest of the leather goes in. Well, maybe it's that bead. There we go. So there's 2. And now I'm going to put 3 on this side. I may as well just give this a little trim as well. You know, the nice thing with leather is it's pretty malleable. Like, you can squish it with your plier. You can, you know, cut it at an angle, get it in there. So, I don't know if it's just this one. It might be the bead. Switch the bead. But, come on now, I need one more. It's gonna work. Don't leave me hanging here with 2 beads on here. What in the world? So we go again. Sometimes the leather, once you get it through a couple of beads that have struggled, the leather like gets soft and then it doesn't want to work with you. So I'm just going to grab a different one here out of the package and see if that works. Okay, not that one. How about this one? There we go. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie some overhand knots. I do not want these to be tight. I mean, I want the knots to be tight, but I don't want the, I don't want them to hang even. So I'm going to give a little space for them to, the beads to slide down. And then with this one, I'm going to tie it up a little closer. Just so they're not hanging like, they're not obnoxiously long, and so they're not even, because I want them to be tapered. And sometimes that takes a little. There we go. Okay, now you can go in, you can hit these knots with a little dab of Loctite, or, you know, if you use whatever you're using, if you use new super glue or whatever, you don't have to do this, but if you want to, you can. You know, I use Loctite gel control, and I also use the new super glue, but I don't know where that is. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna cut these at an angle, give them a little bit of space just in case something moves around. And there she goes. I will put some photos up as well. Ooh, my glue isn't really completely dry. I'll put some photos up on here as well. I know you're like, Randee, it seems really tight. That's how I like to wear my bracelets. I don't really like my bracelets to move, and because there is knots on here and it's leather, it is going to stretch out a little bit once I get to wearing it. So that's why I'm like, just made it a little smaller for myself, but it's got the little business down here. Yeah, there she is. This bracelet was a little bit, it was a little hard to make if you don't have a loom, but, you know, now we know. But we've still utilized our beads from the Bargin bead box. They are showcased well. We still have beads left to use for other projects. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please leave me a comment, share, subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, do all the YouTube things. And I will be putting out more videos making with my Bargin bead box. I think I may also do a show maybe at the end, all of the items that I have made with the Bargin bead box. So that's what I'm going to do. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.